let go. Figure out the character. Put that work in. Put the hard work in of figuring out the scene or the script. If you're lucky enough to have a real role, not just day player, but figure it out. If you're doing theater, you got to do a whole fucking script, which I love theater too. But know your role and know your point of view, and then let go.
Get ready for a fantastic episode as I talk to actor Adam Laborde. And I'll just put it out there right now that this episode, parental advisory, I'll just put that little symbol on it right now. We'll be hearing some curse words, talk about drugs, and much more. And talk about how his relationship with Philip Seymour Hoffman brought him back into the business. Get ready for an awesome episode. Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. What's going on? Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski, and get ready for an awesome episode talking with a fellow actor who we were just in a movie not long ago.
Yes, we were.
Yule Log, and then you just were on set for Grosse Pointe Society.
Yeah.
So congrats on that. And
thank you.
So, Mr. Adam Laborde, what's up, man?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man.
Good to see you,
bro. You in Yule Log is so good, man.
Yeah.
When I watched it, dude, I was like so proud of you because that opening scene is just so fun and so wacky.
The first kill, baby. The first kill.
It was so good. How was filming that? Like, because I mean, as you could imagine, there's not a real log,
Yeah.
There's not really a log chasing you, so it's just you by yourself, and you did such a good job with that. How was it filming that?
Okay, so you also dealt with the log camera in your scenes, right? They called it the log cam, the steady cam.
Yeah. With the log, it's like right through it. It actually never like chased me, but I did see the log cam in the big group Yule Log Festival kind of killing or whatever.
So like the director, Casper Kelly, took such fucking pride. The whole crew was like, it's the log cam, here it comes. And then the professional cameraman with a steady cam comes out, but they build the fucking log right in front of the lens.
Yep.
And then they add special effects. They add the flames afterwards. So I have to fight the camera, but my eye line is just below the lens, and it's me like throwing fentanyl at the log, and they cut the scene where I throw the kilo of marijuana. But I mean, I'm having like a fight scene.
Yeah,
I'm coordinating with the stuntman. He's like, all right, well, when you throw the fentanyl, throw it like you're throwing a baseball, and they're coaching me through the physical.
Brian from ATL Stunts, too.
Exactly.
Shout out to Brian.
Yes, Brian, he was great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But it was fun because in all those action scenes where I'm fighting the log, I have to kind of sync up with the cameraman too, because we're running through the police room, the locker room, the police evidence locker room, and I have to sync everything with the Steadicam, and it was a lot of fun. It was like minor stunt work and acting with a fucking log. It's not exactly the log doesn't have any reaction. I got to put it into my head. This guy's gonna fucking kill me. This is Jason or Michael Myers. He's gonna kill me, and I'm gonna fucking kill him with fentanyl and marijuana.
Yeah,
and the chainsaw.
And then you get the chainsaw.
And
that turns on you quick.
Yeah, everything just fucking. Yeah, the chainsaw goes through the leg. They shot that in B-roll, my leg getting hacked up, but they did use some cool special effects.
Yeah, didn't the blood kind of shoot up into your face, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, he had a giant, the special effects guy, he was a pretty high-end special effects guy and local guy, but he did that with some sort of movie turkey baster, a blood turkey baster, and just fill it up with blood. And then he's just right out of scene and just squirting blood into my face while I'm screaming at the log, and it was a lot of fun.
So fun.
That scene was just great. Yeah, and you were damn good too, by the way.
And so, actually, getting into the business, your dad was into the business. That's how you eventually got into it, right? And which I think is nice because I think there's like two kinds of people in the industry. You have like the people that like the family is not that supportive.
Yep.
And so I imagine for you, completely opposite. Maybe, I mean, was it almost too much so? Like, did you have like these expectations of yourself because your dad was in the industry? Kind of take us down that road a little bit.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. So when I was a young punk and I got to do things with Dad, I got to be in a Coke commercial when I was a kid. I got to be on a Channel 5 show called PM Magazine when I was 11 and host, I had a segment that was 6 minutes long. That was my first gig ever. I was 11.
Wow.
And it was fun because I had about 11 episodes and then they canceled the show. Mm-hmm. And Dad was there and, some of the Channel 5 people, the local channel, WAGA Channel 5. It's still there. And, so Dad would get me little gigs in a Coke commercial and as I was growing up. And then I got into drugs. We'll get to that later. I started drinking and partying. And so I thought...
As you do.
Yeah, as I do. Especially me. I went crazy. So I had this arrogance about Dad. Like, I'm not going to get into this business because Dad's in this business. I went... And Dad was a sweet man. Bill Laborde, y'all. The greatest man alive. Bill Laborde. Yeah. Bill, he's a local guy, but he died 4 years ago.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
R.I.P. to Pop. But so, long story short, when I got into recovery, got clean, I decided I'm going to get back into Dad's business. I'm going to give it my full all because I'm emotionally ready for this now because of recovery.
Did he want you to be in the business? Like, did he want it? He wanted you to be an actor, or like how? Like
he did, but he never pushed me. He was too much of a pansy to say, Adam, you're a fucking nutcase and you're emotionally available. Just go do this. Figure it out. He was a director producer. He was not an actor. He was all directing and producing and editing and budgeting movies. He budgeted movies like, those fucking, the manila folder that he would hand somebody after they paid him $5,000 would be all paper. Here's the budget for your movie. Microphones, grip, key grip, every little detail. He was good with understanding the movie part of the production part of the business, but not acting. He wasn't an emotionally available guy. He was a sweet guy, but he didn't know how to push me into the business and use my personality. So well, it sounds like you were doing well. You had the commercial, you were coming up, and it went. So when did you stop? I was about 31 to 32, so that's 2001, 2002. Started getting into drugs again for a second phase of my life.
So you did it all the way up to your 30s?
Yeah, I did drugs till I was like 21, and then I actually literally found God, and that kind of healed my heart up and made me a more moral person, if you will.
Right.
Thank God to the carpenter above, y'all.
Yeah.
It's that carpenter up above, if you know what I'm saying. So that worked for a while. That got me clean, sober from 21 till about 31. So I got back into acting with Dad in 1998 and started taking classes at Alliance Theater because I wasn't doing drugs anymore. Doing stand-up comedy. By the way, back then, the only acting classes was Alliance Theater. And Judson Vaughn had an acting studio. I forgot what it was called, but they were big. They had lots of local actors there, like
Judson
Adam Boyer and Roxanne.
Oh, man.
He was in a movie called California with a K. Okay, you remember California?
Yeah.
With Brad Pitt, and he was in California and a few other things, but he just ran this acting studio. He was the only guy in town. So I took classes with them and with Alliance. But I wasn't emotionally ready to act yet, honestly, because I was still arrogant and kind of, I just wasn't. If you called me angry or weak or anything back then in my late 20s and early 30s, I thought, no, I'm not. I never get angry. Fuck you. And then I'd throw something, So now I'm emotionally available. I'm like, yeah, I'm a psychotic. I know that now. But back then I was just not ready to be good at acting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I got back in. I did my first booking with a real movie was called The Real Reason. Dad produced it, And it was a movie that went straight to video, sadly. It had a $700,000 budget. And it had Sting, the wrestler, in it. It had Adam
Sting.
Boyer. You know Adam Boyer, local actor. Everyone was a local actor in that movie from Judson Bond's acting studio.
Wow.
And Sting was in it, but he took the makeup off, and he wanted to be a romance lead, so he was.
Oh, wow.
And they premiered it at the Fox Theater.
Yeah.
And I was in it. I was like cop number 3.
Yeah, you
Dad
were.
gave me a role. You know, I did a little stunt driving too in a cop car. It was
wow.
great. And
Dang, these I feel like they would not be allowing you to do stunt driving in a cop car now.
hell no, it was non-union too back then. So,
Did
your
your dad make his money back? Because I was gonna say I saw that you produced some stuff too, and like I didn't realize how much, maybe not you, but like your family experience of like being able to produce, and I'm sure how much you must have learned being a part of that.
It was fun to learn the business, both production side and acting side, through my dad. He was obsessed with the production part, and ever since a kid, I was obsessed with the acting part. So just kind of getting to go on set with him and learn things about how the actors interact and what a set is like. I learned that through Dad, through good old Bill Laborde, y'all. William Laborde, we'll call him.
Yeah.
He was the man.
William.
Everyone in town loved my dad. Like, they all showed up at his funeral, all these local actors that have been around since, you know, Mike Panuski and Rick Rice and all those guys. And agents showed up and stuff. People Store showed up. AMT showed up. Houghton showed. They all knew my dad, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. And I was like, wow, you guys really like Dad. I won't tell you his bad sides. No, he was a saint.
What was one of the biggest things you learned being a part and kind of like, I don't know if partner in crime is the necessarily like the right term, but you know, being near him, doing all this work that you think maybe served you as the actor you are now?
To be kind to people. Dad would stick up for kindness, like on set. That motherfucker didn't take shit off the assholes. Dad, or people that were being unsafe on set. My dad would not take shit. He was a man of safety and kindness and respect on set. Like, he was a saint, you know? He was a really good guy. He really was. So I learned that this is a professional environment here on set. So you need to treat everyone with respect. You really do. And so he would kind of, as a director he would make sure everyone treated each other right and was kind and would talk to people and work with them. He was very good with actors. I learned that, you know, a director should be kind to his actor and have conversations with him about scenes and get into it and discuss the scene if necessary, or just let him fucking act. If they don't need any direction, just let him go.
Yeah.
You know, he was good with actors and good with the crew, and he kept a respectful yet creative set. It was neat. And I learned that as I grew up, you know. He was a neat guy.
I feel like, I mean, I love that that's your answer because I see that in you so much, man.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean,
Thanks.
you are, I mean, how long have we known each other now? I've known you for very
At
long
least 10 years.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it that long?
I think so, 9 or 10 years.
Yeah, it's got to be around there. So, and I would say you 100%, like I have never not thought you are such a kind man and individual, and you're most likely gonna light up the room in a positive way.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, same to you.
You're like,
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
Well, I
but-
have my temper too. You know, I can be an asshole. You know,
I think
you know, and I'm
everybody at one
aware of
point-
that, and I guess I'm gifted with a kind of affable personality. And so I want to be respectful towards everybody. It's critical to me,
Yes.
not just on set, but in fucking life. You know.
Yeah,
I
think you do a great job.
Yeah,
you really do.
thanks, man. Thanks.
So, well, I know that you've brought up you're going a little bit off the path there and finding your way into partying and drugs and alcohol.
Yep.
I would like to dive into that a little bit more. I think there's going to be some people that are going to be really served having this conversation.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I'm all about service, baby.
Let's do it.
My parents and the carpenter taught me that, y'all. Yep.
So
serving humanity, and I know you're about that too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You found your way. I mean, I think everybody understands like finding your way into the partying. We probably don't need to go down the road of what happened. You know, the peer pressure that happened or something.
Yeah.
But like, what was it that made you realize like I got to make a change? And then how did you do it? Like, and like, what was your why essentially?
Yep. Okay. So let's see. I had that spiritual awakening at 21, found God, didn't do drugs till I was 29, started doing cocaine again at 29 years old. I'd been, clean and sober. Just
I've heard that one will get you. I haven't had.
That's called white knuckling it. That's called doing it all by yourself, thinking you're a good Christian, and then someone, gives you an evil eye, and you want to shoot them dead. That's not good Christian harmony with humanity. But I didn't know I was arrogant. I was 21 to 29, not doing drugs, trying to do a little acting with Dad. And
21 to 29, you think you're the fucking man.
I thought I was ruled the world.
Yeah, that's what you think.
Yeah, exactly. like what's his name at the SAG Awards? Bob Dylan. His speech was a little arrogant. I love the kid, but. He's young. Did you see the speech he gave?
No, I didn't see it. No.
Who played Bob Dylan? The guy from Dune. Dune 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah. Well,
good-looking guy.
Yeah, you'll keep talking.
Yeah, anyway, forget bad-mouthing him. He's a good kid. He's just in that age group. He's like, I'm going to be the best fucking actor ever. And I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to be like, he said, Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando. And I'm thinking, mention the motherfuckers who are out in the audience. They're right in front of you. And you're mentioning these dead people. Come on. Quit being so cocky.
Yeah. Timothy
Chalamet. He's a great guy, but it's like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's not just about skill and talent. There's some harmony involved in this business.
Right.
And connection with another person. That's that's why they give the ensemble award at the SAGs, because it's the ensemble. It's connecting with people.
Exactly.
I digress.
All right, so we're white knuckling it.
White knuckling it up till 29. Some dead friend of mine, Bob Lemaster. He's a good man. He turns me on to cocaine. That bastard. I knew him since UGA days. He pulled out the cocaine. And he said, you want some? I said, hell no, man. I've been good for 6 years. No. And he said, you sure? I said, no. He said, you sure? And I just did it.
Damn.
And I
Three questions.
Yeah.
3 are you sure?
Oh, God. And I just took the cocaine into my bloodstream that day in 1999. And I was re-hooked and re-addicted again. And I knew it in my heart.
In one thing.
In one thing, yeah. It was weird. I was like, fuck you, Jesus. Is that funny? No. And Jesus gets it. It's me and him talking right now. But I was so fucking mad at God. I was like, wait, I'm doing cocaine now on a regular basis. Thanks, God. But I'm joking, But I was so angry at myself. Like, Jesus, what is going on here? And I was addicted for 5.5 years. Alcohol, pot, cocaine, crack, not heroin, not anything else. But those are some hard drugs, cocaine and crack.
Yeah.
And I was maintaining a corporate job and angry at everyone at the corporate job. It was vicious, man. I was addicted. Hardcore. And it just ruined my soul, Talk about being an arrogant 21 to 29-year-old. I became really irascible because I was just doing drugs and not getting any sleep and kind of angry at God, like, I'm going to do crack again tonight, God? I don't want to. And then at about 4 p.m., the devil would come in and go, you're doing crack tonight, buddy.
Damn.
I was like, fuck. It was awful. But it was addiction. I mean, anyone that understands addiction, it simply was addiction. I was a good person, and I was good to my family and my friends and my mom and my dad, but I was addicted, man. And then About at 35 years old, I started having heart palpitations anytime I'd do cocaine, and I'd get in the fetal position and have to drink beer in order to drop my SVT down, which is supraventricular tachycardia, a fast heartbeat. I still have it today. It wasn't caused by cocaine. It's a benign condition, SVT. But that SVT would just kick in as soon as I took a hit off the cocaine. And I was like, I'm going to die, and I'm 35 years old. I'm going to pass away and die in the fetal position on my carpet here. And this is going to be ugly. And it just all kind of, I had enough spiritual wisdom and self-awareness to know that I don't need to be under a park bench to quit. I don't need to lose my job. I don't need to lose my Honda Del Sol that probably still has crack in the carpet somewhere, you know. I don't need to lose all these things. I've already lost my soul. And so I started going to 12-step meetings because my grandma was sober through AA. And I started going to...
Did you talk to her about it first?
No, she was dead by then.
Oh, okay.
But it's neat how
you just remembered.
Yeah.
You just remembered.
Yeah, I remember that smoky-ass room where she picked up like 25 years sober. And I was like, these motherfuckers smoke a lot of cigarettes. This is cool. I was like 16, and my grandma was picking up 25 years. And that's the only seed that grandma planted, was that I'm picking up 25 years, and I want you to come, Adam. Isn't that neat? She didn't plant any other seed. She never preached to me or talked about it. She kept it anonymous. I'm probably not even supposed to be talking about NA or AA here, but I'll do it because... You know, it's a violation of our traditions to blow my anonymity that I'm in a 12-step program, but it's okay. It's arguable. And it's not a business. It's not a corporation. So
pretty much then you're like, this is getting bad. I think I'm going to kill myself because, my heart's going crazy. Like, I can't continue. I mean, and what I find fascinating about this too is like it sounded like you're waking up each morning being like, you dumb fuck, what are you doing? Like you don't want to be doing this, but then by the afternoon you're like, I'm doing it. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that is the addiction, is somehow you don't want to, but you keep talking yourself into it. You keep finding the reasons to do it again and again and again. So you get to the point where you're like, something bad is gonna happen, and you remembered your grandmother, and so you went to meetings, and then we're good?
Yeah, what happened is I was so desperate to get clean and sober that at my first meeting, I kind of looked at the 12 steps. The 12 steps are very brilliant. They kind of lead you to your higher power if you, in quick summary, if you admit your secrets, you become aware of your character defects and pray for them to be removed, and you make amends to everyone you fucked over. It's pretty simple, but it's scary to do. So I looked at the steps. I said, I'll do these one day. They scare me right now, but I'm going to do this shit. And so my heart and mind were open immediately. And then I had to keep drinking and realize that alcohol is a drug. Alcohol is a mood-changing substance as well, because I realized I'm an alcoholic also. Okay, fine. I'm a drug addict. Okay, fine. And then I began to play ball by the rules of the program. I went to meetings every freaking day.
Every day, really?
Yeah, 90 meetings in 90 days, they say.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to about 89 in 90 days. And one a day. You know, I'd get off work and I'd go to a meeting and I share honestly and openly. And then I started working the steps with a sponsor and admitting my deepest, darkest secrets, realizing I'm arrogant, I'm angry, I have character defects, I'm entitled, etc. I was mean to mom and dad. I was mean to everybody. I started talking about it, you know. I started making amends to everything and everybody, and I got closer to God and hence became happier and started helping people in the program, being of service towards people. It gets me emotional because it really did make me grow up.
Yeah.
It really did.
How did... Because what you just talked about, there's one thing and I appreciate your vulnerability.
Hey, I'm an actor. This ain't faking it. When you're not acting, you really are fucking crying. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Recovery made me vulnerable. Recovery began the process of acting. I was like, wait, I'm crying in front of a bunch of fucking people. I wasn't an actor again yet. And I was like, I'm emotionally vulnerable. I love this because it feels good to be emotionally vulnerable. You know, it feels good.
Yeah.
That's why we act, because we get to go out there and occasionally we get to get angry at someone, and maybe we'll really get angry, or maybe we'll really cry, and we'll tap into something that is me. It's not acting. It's fucking me. It's Adam, you know?
Right.
I'm in there. In every scene I've ever done, it's just fucking me. Even though I might be playing a character, it's just crazy ass Adam.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway.
How did you... Because I think there's one thing of like, I want to get better. I want to get away from the life that I'm living now, right? But you talked about some other things in like opening up, apologizing to people, you know, realizing that you're angry, these types of things, which I feel like is separate. It's kind of different, right? There's one thing of like, I want to get my life better and more on track, and then all these inner demons, if you will.
Yeah.
How were you able to take the step to take that on? Because you have to, right?
Yeah, you have to work the steps if you want to get better.
Yeah, so how were you able to be like, I'm officially doing it? Or was there a moment, a time? How did that decision, like, now it's happening?
I was actually terrified that I would never truly stop drinking and using again. So I went to my sponsor and I said, I want to work these steps and I want to work them fast. Because I just was terrified that I'm really never going to stay sober. And so I committed to working those steps with my sponsor, another man that you work the steps with, in essence. You don't do it with a woman because you end up wanting to have sex with them, and that just goes to hell. That was a joke, y'all. Don't get a female sponsor if you're a straight man, and vice versa. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah. But, so he took me through the steps. He let me spill my guts, and the steps are a magnificent process. And but I was just scared. I'm like, I'm never gonna get better. I'm never gonna get clean. I gotta work this program, and I gotta work it hard. It says I'll get closer to God. Let's fucking do it. Let's do it. Let's do the steps. And I did it. And I started to get happy slowly but surely, and more confident, more peaceful, more serene. Didn't need drugs anymore. I was happy again. You know, I wasn't angry.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard it a bunch, but I'm sure it doesn't get old either.
No, not really. No. It's neat to get through it and to stay through it, because I've got 19 years now, which is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to get 19 years because life happens. People die. You have breakups. You lose your dog. Everything happens when you're old like me. You got to get through it without fucking doing drugs. It can be difficult.
Right. So during this time, you stopped acting, and obviously you're back into it now. Yeah. How did you find your way back into it?
Okay, this is a fun story, and I'm going to blow his anonymity because he's dead now. His name is Phil. He preferred to be called Phil, but it's Philip Seymour Hoffman was coming to meetings, right? And he had relapsed sometime in, I think, 2013, and he was here in town doing Hunger Games, and he was coming to our meeting, our home group. And I became friends with him, started talking with him after meetings all the time. And I had about 6 years clean at the time, or something like. It was back in 2013, I think, early 2013 he started coming. That's Hunger Games days. And I was like, he's such a sweet guy, and he doesn't give a shit that he won an Oscar. He doesn't give a fuck about Capote. He cares about being a better dad to his kids and a better husband to his ex-wife, a better person. That's all he gave a fuck about, was how do I get sober and how am I do I be a good dad, etc. Right? And I was like, I'm emotional because he was a sweet guy, and the point was, good people deserve kudos. It's not that he's a fucking superstar. I don't give a shit about that anymore. He was just a sweet guy. He was very inspiring to us, because he'd come into meetings and share about his real life. He didn't show off, He was just like, hey, I fucked up. I did drugs. I want to stay sober. And he was very vulnerable, you know, just like me, cry in meetings. And I was like, I got to get back in this business. My dad's still alive. I'm going to start taking classes. I'm going to go all in because if Phil can do it, I can do it. You know, it was that kind of shit. You know, if he can win an Oscar, maybe when I'm 88, I'll win my first Oscar, you know. So I dove into classes because Phil inspired me. You know, he was just a nice guy. And I just dove in full-fledged, you know, and started training again, you know, at the age of 34 or 35. You know, I'm 54 now. No, I was 39, 40. I was about 41, 40. So I got back in late in life. I was doing it in my 20s. I was doing it as a child, and I got back in late in life.
And then what's-his-face acting school was gone.
Yeah, Judson Vaughn was long fucking gone. He teaches lawyers now, and he still does sort of acting stuff. But Judson was gone, and then everybody was in town, you know. Because the tax break was here, and so everybody was teaching acting, and I dove the fuck in. I figured out the craft. I became passionate about the craft of acting, just like Bob Dylan. I forgot his name again because he was so cocky the other night. Timothy Chalamet. He loves it, and I love it too. You know, I'm just obsessed with finding the Adam in every character and then, allowing the other parts to meld into me, like Phil says. Phil has a great little video where he says, I meld parts of me with the parts that aren't me. And I discover that, and I get into it, and I let those parts seep into me, and then I use the parts of me, and he just creates characters. Now, these guys are talking about characters that are leads in movies, but I can still play around with that with even day player roles, But I don't go too deep because we got 30 fucking minutes to do the audition. So, sometimes you just learn your lines and use your technique. But anyway, I met Phil. He inspired me, and I got knee deep into acting.
What was there a specific moment, specific thing that he said that inspired you? What was it that inspired you?
The fact that he was just so damn human and just so sweet and kind of normal. A lot of charisma. A lot of actors have charisma, a hell of a lot of charisma. But it was just neat because he didn't give a shit that he was an actor. He just was emotionally available in meetings, could cry, could talk about his issues, could say, I've been a bad dad because I used drugs. He didn't see himself as a bad dad. He was a good dad. But he slipped up, He started using drugs again. He was sober for 21 years.
Yeah.
He was religiously going to meetings for decades. Something happened, he slipped up. But I just was inspired by him being a sweet guy. And it was nothing that he said, like, get into acting, Adam. It's an easy sport. He does it's not like that because he knows it's a pain in the ass. But he just kind of inspired me, and I just did my own thing. Then the fucker died. Phil, why'd you have to go off and die? That pissed us off when he died. Pissed everybody off that was in the program. We were so sad.
I bet.
We were so sad. It was like, oh, the poor guy. We all a lot of us relapse. It's what happens,
When that happened, I feel like I could see that creating. Yeah, I'm like, what happened? Specifically with you. I mean, was that this is a stronger reason not to ever go back, or were you like, this is bullshit, I want to go back? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what were some of the feelings? You
mean to go back into acting?
No, like with drugs and alcohol. Like, I could see it being very painful and, tough to stay the course.
Yeah, well, I worked a strong program and still do. I still pray. I still meditate. I still am open to helping people, not just in our community of acting. I like to help new actors now. I love to tell them anything they want to know. But I help newcomers in the program, in the 12-step program. I'm very open to helping people because that's kind of what God called me to do as I got back into the program. It's not just like he called me to get it back into acting and all that. He called me to be a loving person, an open-hearted person. So my heart is pretty open with regular prayer and meditation. And so I stay strong with when I get out of line and yell at one of my loved ones, which just happened last week. I go to a meeting and I fucking talk about it. I admit it. I get open about my defects of character. It's like therapy going to a meeting. I'm regularly involved in being open in meetings where it's confidential and anonymous, and forgive me for talking about Phil and all that. He wouldn't mind. Maybe his family members might be, why is Adam blowing Phil's anonymity? But when someone dies, they're not in the program anymore, and that's when we then start talking about them. It's an anonymous program. But anyway, he was a great guy. But I'm therapeutically involved and spiritually involved in staying connected with a higher power and helping other people and just being as loving as I can be and not being a fucking asshole, I'm just into the character development of the program. And that's how I can stay sane and not do drugs when life hits, Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. So Phil re-inspired you back into acting, and, I know, like you said, you dove deep into different classes. Before you were doing stand-up, so I know you're doing improv, all sorts of things. How I feel like that probably has a lot to do with your perseverance in this, right? To really have something else that like makes you happy, that you're passionate about. How has that journey been? I mean, and now it's been, what, another 10 years?
Yeah, it's been a little over 11 years since I dove in completely and fully. And it's been a blessing and pretty awesome. It's been a lot of fun because it's a craft that it kind of seemed to come natural to me because I was already emotionally available. And then I just had to learn the technique by taking, 3 or 4 years of, I spent a lot of money on classes those first 3 to 5 years. I was fucking dedicated. I was into it. I already understood all the techniques, but I had never applied them. I had never trained in them.
Right.
So I just started taking everybody in town.
I mean, it's that newfound cocaine money.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I had the money, baby.
Yeah.
I was about at least 10 grand a year. I treated it like college. I've always been a hard worker. I was a hard-working crackhead. Let's put it that way. I worked for a corporation, y'all, and smoked crack. That's going to be my story. I've already written the script. I've already got a short, and I'll turn it into a feature of my story.
Yeah, do it.
Being a crackhead in the corporate world. It's a funny story.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was a hard worker, so when I started training, I was taking 3 classes a week, I was all in, I was doing the Rob Mello, the Meisner. I was doing Michael Cole at the same week, Monday night would be someone like Michael Cole or Jason Warner Smith or whoever. I took from so many different people. And when you're new, you take everything, right?
Yeah.
You figure it out and you develop your own technique.
Exactly.
Yep.
I was just about to say that, you do all that, you kind of figure out your own thing. So in taking with, everyone around town.
Yeah.
Getting your own technique, and I know you kind of, I've already said this, so it might just be a repeat about really bringing yourself to it and meshing the characters, but what would you say if you could just say it in a sentence or two to make it easy? What do we need to do as actors?
Continue to train even if you're experienced, but let go, figure out the character, put that work in, put the hard work in of figuring out the scene or the script if you're lucky enough to have a real role, not just day player, but figure it out. If you're doing theater, you got to do a whole fucking script, which I love theater too, but know your role and know your point of view and then let go, I mean, really know your point of view in that moment, in that scene. Do all the work that's necessary and then fuck the work that you've done and let go. Completely let go. It's very hard to let go, but I loved doing the hard work of studying that scene and getting into it, knowing my lines and knowing my point of view and knowing where I'm coming from and getting into it with as much time as I have for this audition or this role that I've booked. And then just get there and let go.
Awesome,
You know, let myself come out. Whatever quirks might come out, they come out, you know?
Yeah, that sounds similar when I say, like, you know, you do the homework and then you throw it away.
Yep. Do the homework, you throw it away.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, I say, you know, good for you for being able to get back on the path that you need to and stay in the course as long as you have, and now getting back to something that is bringing you joy and that you are passionate about. Good for you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful life, you know? Yeah, it really is. I appreciate it. Yeah.
And with that comes our spotlight sign off already.
Okay. I love
Man,
it.
so it's 5 questions to end strong, Adam.
Oh, good. All right.
Question 1 is, what's something you're super grateful for today?
The breath in my lungs, being here with you, and just being alive and healthy.
All right.
Yeah.
Question.
These are your standard last 5 questions?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a David Letterman thing.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. By the way, you're a big interview fan. Did I do all right?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, it was great.
All right,
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was my first love, was comedy and David Letterman. You know, when I was 13 and 14.
Dang.
And getting stoned and Dad forcing me to watch every movie that's ever been created, which I loved. Thank God Dad did that, because he got me into this business. But he was obsessed with movies. But David Letterman and Johnny Carson in the interview process, the comedy interview process. I always wanted to be David Letterman, you know, when I was a kid. So yeah, you did a hell of a job. It was fun. Yeah, they were good questions.
Yeah, you can do this too. You can make your own show.
Yeah, I've thought about it. Yeah. It's a great way where you don't have to write a fucking script too. You don't have to memorize lines, and you can just, 2 people can connect and get to know each other. The interview process is a beautiful thing.
I'll tell you, man, that is, and I've said it on the show before, but I didn't realize one of the positives in doing the podcast was like, oh wow, like when was the last time you just sat down with someone, you're like, put your phone on do not disturb, and we're just gonna like connect for 45 minutes or an hour or something. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Nope,
you just don't do that.
Nope.
And so selfishly, I'm like, I get to do it all the time.
Yeah,
you know, it's really nice.
Yeah, you get to meet all these people and get to know them on a deeper level, you know, and just chat with them and not worry about anything except the fucking conversation. That's why I like acting, because if you get lost enough in the scene, you're just with another person connecting. That's all you're doing. And sometimes you find that little moment where you really are lost. You know, you truly are letting go. And that's a fun feeling, you know, just being lost with another person in a scene or in the environment. And going, oh, this was real life for just a quick second. I think I really did get angry. I think I really did cry, you know?
Right.
It's a neat process. Yeah, but anyway, okay, that was question one.
Question 1. So question 2 is there a book, television show, or movie that changed the trajectory of your life?
Oh yeah, lots of stuff. Just generally speaking, the first book would have been the Atticus Finch book, To Kill a Mockingbird, because Mom was like, you got to read this book and you got to watch this movie. I was 12 or 11, and that and Fantasia. And then
Fantasia scared me as a kid.
Fuck yeah, my parents made me watch it.
I hated Fantasia.
Yeah, maybe that's what turned me to LSD when I was 15 was Fantasia, because that shit is crazy.
Dude, yeah. They were definitely on LSD making that shit.
Hell yeah. In 1941, they were like, what's this stuff?
Yeah.
Let's make an animated movie. It was off the chain crazy.
Yeah. How about Mickey Mouse as a wizard and he brings the brooms to life?
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah. My parents made me watch that too young. So those were my first book and movies that influenced me a little too young. And then I watched A Clockwork Orange. 15 years old.
Yo, that'll
smoking
fuck you up.
dope and on acid. And everyone I saw, I said, y'all all got to see this movie. I thought it was good for everyone. But that movie is not good for everyone.
No.
But it was good for my crazy mind. I loved it. I was like, this Kubrick guy is insane. Who is this Malcolm McDowell motherfucker? This is crazy.
Yo.
And I just loved it. I just thought it was a masterpiece at 15 years old. I was like, this is true cinema right here.
Wow.
I was just fascinated. I put it on videotape and I'd force it down people's throat in college. I'm like, we're doing acid and we're watching Godfather and we're watching Kubrick and we're going to watch Miller's Crossing because it was 91 by then. That's about my favorite movie. It's a Coen Brothers movie, Miller's Crossing. But the A Clockwork Orange was very influential on me.
Wow.
It had this sick, twisted sense of humor, really dark humor mixed with excellent cinema and a really spooky, scary, terrifying story.
Yeah.
Just blew my mind.
Yeah, that movie's crazy.
And
I can still see, there's this one scene in The Clockwork Orange that I can see like so clearly because I just was like, oh my God. And I couldn't believe like, because I saw it much, much later from when it came out. And
Sure.
I remember thinking, this came out at this date, this is crazy. But when the guys come in to rob the house and they grab the girl and they just like cut her shirt.
Yes.
So she's just like revealed. And I'm
Yep.
like, oh my God.
Yep. And-
this is crazy.
And
like,
they begin singing a Fred Astaire song.
Yeah.
Talk about dark comedy.
dude.
I was like, oh my God, they're
Yeah.
singing in the rain.
Yeah.
And
this is just dark as shit.
So dark, yeah.
Yeah,
And trying to be funny about it. You know, Kubrick and Malcolm McDowell and the lady probably after they cut, they were like, thank God this isn't real. This is kind of funny. And they're the only ones that think it's funny because when you watch the scene, it's like twisted.
It's like terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
question 3.
Number 3 coming up, y'all.
is
Yeah.
what's something in your daily routine you really cherish?
Prayer and meditation. Try to get about 10 or 15 minutes in. I have better recovery friends who put an hour and a half into prayer and meditation. I'm like, fuck you, you win. But me, I 10 to 15 minutes. So
They might be sleeping half that time.
I think they're lying. Who can do an hour and a half of prayer and meditation
Yeah,
other
you
than
just-
Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad? That's it. Those 3.
You just need the time that you need. And
Yeah.
and you get 15 minutes. That's all you need. You're
Yeah.
doing it. And if you want more, you'll get more. If you don't need it, you don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
You know, you're more recovered than them.
Hello. Did you hear that? Jesse figured me out. I'll walk into a meeting and I'll just yell recovery, and half the people will be like, "That's Adam being funny," and the other half are like, "Do you have cancer? What are you recovering from?" They don't get it, but I get it.
Yeah.
It's recovery, baby. Yeah, but
All
prayer
right.
and meditation's critical, and
Good.
yeah, working out is important because that keeps me sane, and
Good.
being a good person.
That's how
Yeah.
Candace is. If she doesn't work out, she gets a little crazy.
Starts to throw shit, right?
She starts to get a little, you get out of her way.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Question 4
Yeah.
is what's something you're currently trying to improve in your life right now?
Let's see. Well, I'm always trying to improve me, but that's a lame answer.
Yeah. No, you got to get
Now-
specific.
What something I'm trying to fucking improve?
Yeah. Maybe you just discovered right now that you got to figure it out. It's something specific.
What the fuck? I'm always trying to get better as an actor, but that's a lame answer.
Yeah. Also lame.
Yeah, what is something
But you could
I'm
choose
trying...
something specific in your actor world.
Stand-up comedy. Is that an okay answer?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I'm doing stand-up and have been for about 3 years, but that's the ultimate art form, as we all probably agree. It's the scariest thing on earth to
I've
do.
seen you do stand up, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I've
Did you?
seen you do
You might have
stand-up.
seen me at a Rob Mello show or something like
Maybe.
7 years ago, and I don't know, but I think you came to one of my shows a
think
long
I've
time
seen you.
ago.
Yeah.
When I was probably literally urinating on my pants back then.
But it was
it's
funny.
scary. Thank you. But stand-up is like this other art form that's loosely related to acting, where you have to there's only one option. You got to be fucking funny. And it's hard to write and have a point of view on stage when there's no actors to bounce off of and blame it on. They fucked up.
Right.
It's you fucked up. If you're not making them laugh, you feel like, all right, I'm committing suicide on the stage.
Yeah.
I'm shitting in my pants, and now I'm going to commit suicide. It's hard. It's a tough art form, but I love it. Because the high is almost as good as crack cocaine and heroin combined.
Really?
It's a big high.
Wow.
When you make that crowd laugh, woof, it's like I'm up for a day, you know?
Dang.
Yeah, it's a good high. And then the low is pretty intense too. When you're bombing, it's like, oh shit, this feels bad. I am going to kill myself. Yeah. Then you wake up the next morning and you're like, that's okay. I guess I can bomb.
What's the next? Where's the next open mic? Let's give it another shot. Yeah.
It's a fun profession, but it's the ultimate art form, so I fuck around in it, you know?
All right. All right, last question, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
We went over a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Some real deep, vulnerable stuff. If you wanted the audience all to get one thing for sure, what would it be?
As my carpenter friend said, love all the assholes in the world and love your neighbor. In other words, love your enemy, love your neighbor, and find that love from your higher power, and try not to let the higher power be crack cocaine, but maybe let it be God or something passionate. So love God, love your neighbor. You know, that's my favorite statement on earth. It's hard to explain, isn't it? But I love it. I think it's so deep. It's like a fucking parable where you're like, how do I love a higher power? I don't get it. Well, if you have self-love, share it with fucking others. It's kind of what God was saying, I think. If you have a little self-love, pretend like I gave it to you and share it with other people.
I love it.
That's my favorite thing, really. But I like acting in life and all my friends and family too, you know.
Good.
And I appreciate the interview, man. It was lovely talking to you.
Lovely chatting with you too,
Yeah,
Adam.
man.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah.
Well, everyone, that is that. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe. If you're just listening to this right now, know that we are also on YouTube, so you can communicate with us in the comments. And if you love this show, please, please, please leave us a review. It does really help the podcast and gives us the ability to get in front of more ears and eyes to help serve more people. If this impacted your journey in a positive way, please send it to a friend. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you on the next one.